They turned the ball over 5 times against the Steelers, 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles. And you can see by the score here, they did only lose by 7 points, though the majority of that was in garbage time. And I'm here to say I think that was a blip on the radar. I think Pittsburgh came in angry after what happened to them at home on a Sunday night. We know Mike Tomlin typically does try to get the best out of his guys in that scenario. But to me, this really didn't tell me much about either team because what I saw out of the Steelers was the same thing I've been seeing and saying for the 8 games they have played this year, which is sure they have DK Metcalf, but guess what? He only had 2 catches for 6 yards on Sunday. They are a run the ball, throw the ball short, do not turn the ball over with Aaron Rodgers, and hope our defense gets turnovers. And their defense got 5 turnovers against the Colts, and they got 5 turnovers against the Patriots, and they won both those games. I don't think that's a coincidence, but nothing changed for me about the Steelers. And as I told you last week, it's ironic that the Baltimore Ravens, even with Lamar Jackson, are now 3-5. They are favored to win the division over the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they haven't even played yet, and the Steelers are up 2 games on them.
Yes. It's also ironic that the Steelers played like that defensively because I don't know if you saw this, but fans were literally having a funeral for their defense outside the stadium during a tailgate. Like they showed
I did not see that, but that sounds funny.
They showed this on like Sunday NFL Countdown. They had fans like had an actual casket. It was yellow on the inside, and it said defense. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. By the way, from what I heard, the Steelers were trying to get Jacoby Myers before eventually he got traded to the Jaguars. Which
they need receiver help, and they didn't get any. So this offense is going to be, again, a pop gun offense going forward. And the Colts, listen, the Steelers did their job, right? They stopped Jonathan Taylor. They forced Daniel Jones back to pass. The weird thing about it was it did feel like Pittsburgh controlled the whole game, yet it was only a 10-point game with 8 minutes remaining. And if it wasn't for that interception by Daniel Jones, maybe the Colts come back and win the game.
Yes. I also find it ironic that TJ Watt forced a fumble in this game because guess who was on the call for
his
this
brother
game?
JJ.
Yes, his brother JJ. So maybe it's ironic or it's coincidental. I'm not entirely sure, but either way, I loved that little nugget. But for me, like you said earlier, the reason they won this game and the game earlier in the season at New England is because their defense actually remembered, we can force turnovers.
And here's the weird thing. This may sound weird. I don't really think of turnovers as like real stops. Like they're turnovers, like you force them. But it's not like the Colts weren't moving the ball up and down the field, right? It's not like the Steelers defense forced all these punts and they got back to playing dominating defense. To me, if you were to force 1 or 2 turnovers and you forced them to punt 5 or 6 times, that's more of a sign you're back as opposed to, we forced 5 turnovers, because turnovers come in bunches. They're fluky.
Yes, that part is true, especially that first turnover, which the Steelers did not convert on when the punt returner for the Colts just completely muffed it.
Yeah. And again, like, the crazy thing is, the Steelers may have been right. Like, what's the difference right now between Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph? I can't tell you, besides the fact I think Aaron is smart and he gets them in and out of the huddle better and he's not taking sacks.
Yeah, think about this. The Steelers, once they on that first fumble by Daniel Jones and the interception, they got 14 points off those turnovers alone.
And this game felt over midway through the third quarter. You look up in the fourth and you're like, wait, the Colts are driving down 10. Are they going to make this a game? So if I'm a Steelers fan, no, I don't feel great about that win.
No. And I told you, and I still feel this way. this game was going to have a major impact on whoever on the AFC playoff picture. And I fully believe that, because now you have the Colts at 7-2. I believe the Patriots and Broncos are both 7-2, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm here to tell you, I don't care what you say, the Broncos are one of the worst 7-2 teams I've ever seen.
Okay. No, that's fair, because they've had to win a bunch of their games in the fourth quarter. I understand that.
But Bo Nix has played a grand total of about 6 good quarters this year. And ironically, it's all come against the NFC East. The fourth quarter against my Eagles, which I like the Falcons game in week 2 a year ago. I have no idea how we found a way to lose that game. The fourth quarter of the Giants game, which everybody knows, if it wasn't for that interception by Jackson Dart, they probably would have watched that game. And the Cowboy game, which everybody and their mother is going up and down the field on Matt Eberflus's defense. It may not be as bad as the Bengals defense, but it's just as bad.
Yes. But still, that creates a 3-way tie between the Colts, the Patriots, and the Broncos.
And the Colts have the Chiefs in a couple of weeks. And I told you, that game is going to be the test. We're going to find out how good the Colts are when they face Kansas City. Because I don't care. I told you this going into the Chiefs-Bills game. I don't care what their records are. Right here today, I'm picking that to be the AFC Championship game again. I don't care what seed they are. If there's a chance for them to match up in the playoffs, I believe they're going to match up.
Well, interestingly, right now, if the playoffs started this week, Kansas City would be out of the playoffs.
Yeah, they're going to take Jacksonville's spot, and I'm here to say that
Jacksonville holds the tiebreaker over them.
Well, I don't think the Jaguars are very good. I mean, they barely beat the Raiders. Brock Bowers had basically a game for the ages, and they have no other receiving weapons. But I do think Jacksonville could now potentially overtake the Chargers, because the Chargers lost both their tackles.
Yeah, and they made
so I know this is kind of off topic, but let's look at the AFC playoff picture. Okay. So we already know we're going to get 4 division winners. So we know in the AFC East, one of Buffalo or New England is going to win the division. The other is more than likely to get a wild card spot. Okay. AFC South, we know, I would say at this point, it's very likely the Indianapolis Colts are going to win the division.
Yes.
Okay. So the AFC North, I would say it's down to the Steelers and the Ravens to win the division. I don't think there's going to be a second team that comes out of the North. I think you're only going to get one team coming out of the North. So that's your third spot. So with the AFC West, I think Denver's record is good enough where they're not going to have a complete collapse. They're going to make the playoffs. I think the Chiefs obviously are good enough. They're going to make the playoffs. So I look at it and I go, is it going to be the Chargers or is it going to be the Jaguars to get that last wild card spot?
Okay. Which the Jaguars, I would give them the advantage right now, because they don't have Brian Thomas, and Travis Hunter is down right now, which that trade is looking better and better for the Browns right now. I'll tell you that. Because
well, is it? I mean, it depends on what they do with that pick.
That part is true, yes. But the fact that Travis Hunter hasn't been able to stay on the field and be fully healthy makes it look like a better trade for the Browns. I will say that. And no, the Browns are not going to factor into the playoff picture. I'm not even going to be delusional.
Oh, really?
Trust me, I'm not delusional enough to say, the Browns.
They're going to be buyers at the trade deadline. They go out and they trade whatever that name is, Joe Triathlon, for a 6th-round pick. Oh, yeah, they did. By the way, the Jets, I know, completely off topic. I got to give the Jets credit. The Jets have decided we're bad. We're going to trade our expensive defensive players away. We're going to surround our rookie quarterback next year with offensive talent, because my takeaway is they kept Garrett Wilson. They kept Breece Hall. They're going to buy some offensive linemen. They're probably going to buy another receiver, and they're going to draft defense to keep their defense cheap. Andrew Barry, you're paying $21 million or something like that to Denzel Ward. You're paying $40 million a year for Myles Garrett, who may or may not want to be here. Take notes from the Jets. Instead, the Browns' most expensive players are on the defensive side of the ball.
Yep. And God, the Browns play the Jets this week in New Jersey.
And would you believe the Browns opened up as underdogs and now they're 2.5-point favorites?
Yeah, that game's going to be like two ugly people fighting each other.
Let's go to a game that was not two ugly people fighting each other, but honestly, it could have been ugly. I was shocked at how much Buffalo, and I'm going to use the D word here, I think they dominated the game. The Chiefs looked like they just did not want to show up. They did not want to play. Buffalo got a lot of pressure on Patrick Mahomes, which is exactly what the Buccaneers and Eagles did in their 2 Super Bowl victories over Mahomes. And the other thing is this, Josh Allen was barely touched all day. I think he only missed 3 passes.
Yeah.
James Cook was incredible in the run game. And the Chiefs, and this is what we both said coming into this game, was you look at Kansas City, and yes, we all think the Chiefs, no matter what their record is, they're right up there in Super Bowl odds. But the one thing they have had in the past couple of years that they do not have this year is the ability to run the football. I suspect they were trying to get Breece Hall at the trade deadline, and the Jets would not let them have him.
Well, from what I heard on that, is the Chiefs offered a 4th-round pick and the Jets wanted a 3rd-round pick for him.
And if I'm Kansas City, I would have paid a 3rd-round pick for him because they can't run the ball.
No.
I mean, they have Kareem Hunt.
Think about this for a second. They used Clyde Edwards-Helaire on Sunday against the Bills.
The infamous, who was a 1st-round pick, by the way, and has been gone, I think, out of the league for 2 or so years, was on the Chiefs practice squad, which I wasn't even aware of till they brought him in the game.
Yes. But I want to give credit to Brandon Beane because, yes, they were decimated on defense. Who knows if they're going to get Ed Oliver back this season? Maybe if they make a deep playoff run, he might be back by then. But
Joey Bosa has been amazing for them.
That's exactly where I was going with it. To go out and get Joey Bosa, now it certainly helped that Kansas City did not have their 1st-round pick, Josh Simmons. It sounds like he's back in the building.
And Jawan Taylor was out too. But again, the weird thing about the Chiefs is it feels like their offensive line is fixed, and then all of a sudden it goes to a disaster again.
Yeah. And it feels like the Bills went out and made specific draft picks and made specific free agency moves in order to beat the Chiefs. But
I agree. But you know what we both said, and this was really us assuming that Joe Burrow was going to be healthy for the Bengals. We said, actually, Buffalo matches up well against Kansas City. They don't really match up well against Cincinnati. They kind of match up against Baltimore. You can make the argument, but they are obsessed with the Chiefs. And we both said that in retrospect, even though the standings now may change and it may make it harder for the Chiefs to win the AFC West, that in macro sense, this game didn't matter as much because it's all about what can the Bills beat the Chiefs in the postseason. I mean, this is turning into, you can make an argument, the Kansas City Chiefs are the Golden State Warriors and the Buffalo Bills are the James Harden Houston Rockets.
Yeah, you could definitely make that argument. Mahomes, Allen has quickly become Brady, Manning, except for the fact that Manning was able to beat Brady in the playoffs. Allen has not been able to do that yet. But I told you going into this game last week, I told you, I thought this game was more important for the Buffalo Bills because New England already has a game in hand on them by beating the Bills in Buffalo, and the Bills still have to go to Foxborough later in the season.
I think that they will win that game, and I'm here to make a prediction. I don't think it will be close. And I think if Buffalo and New England were to meet in the playoffs, Buffalo would win, and I don't think it would be close because I think New England is still a year away. I know you're in love with Drake May, but did you not see the Falcons game on Sunday?
Oh, I know. He's getting hit like crazy. I get it.
They are getting sacked a lot. And that's my one concern about New England is their offensive line is not as good. And Drake London did a number on that secondary. And I like Drake London, but I don't think he's the greatest receiver in the world.
No. And if they had a legit kicker, they would have won that game. They
would have sent the game to overtime.
By the way, the Falcons cut Parker Romo and signed Zane Gonzalez, their third kicker of the season.
Whatever the coup. I thought he was supposed to come back. Is he out for the year?
I have no idea.